What's up, what's up? It's your boy Corey B. So today I would actually like to, you know, just kind of talk about some things and try to get a little perspective. You know, I have, it's been difficult lately, with all the challenges that we're facing in the world right now. There's so many things going on. There's this pandemic that is still going on, and as of lately, it actually hit close to home. A couple of friends of ours, got COVID, and then their entire family got it, and it's hard watching those that are close to you, hurt and be sick, and fighting this, and then you see what's going on with the racism in this nation. There's been multiple incidents as of lately where racism has fueled a big problems. And it's really just, it's breaking us down as a society. To see the sickness and the racism and the fighting, and instead of taking these moments of negativity, because when it comes down to it, it's not a black thing, it's not a white thing, it's not a race thing, it's not a faith thing, it's not a Christian thing, it's a hate thing. That's what it comes down to. It's an evil thing. It's an evil presence, for someone to hate someone else because of the color of their skin, or because of their faith, or because of their beliefs, or because they're just different than you, or just because they look different, or act different, or behave different. We have, most of us, I'm pretty sure all of us have, if you just, maybe it was just so minimal you didn't even notice, but everybody has at some point in their life been picked on or ridiculed for being different, as a child or whatever, and that comes, man, I can't even wrap my head around, truly where it comes from. A lack of understanding, a lack of wanting to fit in, just so many different things. But it manifests, and it continues to fuel hatred and evil and anger. And there's evil in our world, and when it comes down to it, people want to say, people want to look at white people as bad, or black people as bad, or cops as bad, or politicians as bad. And it's like, that's not the case. It's not cops that are bad. It's not a particular race that's bad. It's people are bad. Like, people are bad. People are. And it's sad, and no matter how good any of us are, we all fall short. And it's just a matter of whether we allow that negativity to continue to fuel us, or we're gonna rise up and be bigger than that, and be better than that, overcome that. It's something that, you see so many people, especially, in the media, famous people, athletes, musicians, artists, actors, whatever, they say things. They say things, and it quickly, politicians, it quickly gets either taken out of context, or they put their foot in their mouth, because they're trying to say something that is somewhere in their mind or in their head. And, people quickly want to allow that to be who that person is. We don't have to be the mistakes. that we make. We don't have to be the negativity that is us. We don't have to be the differences that we feel. Because we do feel different. People feel different from each other. People see people who believe differently than them, than think differently than them, that act, walk, talk, dress, all these different things. They feel different. And it's okay to be different. Let's celebrate our differences. Let's enjoy and embrace our differences. We can learn from one another. We can learn from other cultures, other races, other faiths, religions. Religion and politics, those are two hot buttons, because those are two that people feel so passionately about that they'll almost go blindly and quickly to judge the other side rather than give them a chance to really share their perspective and their thoughts. I have a couple of friends. I'm a Christian. I'm a loud Christian. If y'all are following me and been paying attention to my videos, y'all know that. Like I said, I'm loud. I'm not quiet about it. But I'm not pushy about it either. I don't push my faith on everybody. I don't pressure people to think like I do. But I have a handful of friends that I have a joy, a true joy being able to share my faith with, because a couple of them are actually really strong Christians, and we get to share and build each other up and help each other with our walk, Whereas a couple of the others are just very respectful. We respect each other. We don't see eye to eye on everything because they're not a Christian. That's okay, because they shed light on things to me, and I shed light on things to them. And we're able to open each other's eyes to things, and that's growth. That's humanity. That's love. As a Christian, this is something that I particularly have a strong feeling about, just because I see a lot of Christians. I see a lot of Christians who are loud about being a Christian, and they're so quick to judge or put their arm up and keep people at distance because they know already, they have already a preconceived knowledge that that person is different than them, or believes different than them. And because they don't believe or walk in the same faith, they're going to keep them at arm's length rather than pulling them in and holding them close. And the reality is that's part of being a Christian. Being a Christian is, to live your life modeling Christ, and that's what Christ did. Christ embraced. He walked amongst the people. He walked amongst those who thought differently than him. He didn't berate them or pound his faith into them. He walked with them and led by example. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to walk and lead by example, not by pounding it into people, And I think I'm by no means arrogant enough to believe I have all the answers. I just believe I have some perspective. And I think that if we use that basic idea in all things, we have so much opportunity to truly grow as a society, as a nation, as a world, as a people, as a human race, opposed to as an individual race or as a individual group of people with a faith. If we apply that basic idea, embrace those that are different in efforts to lift each other up. We all get some things right sometimes. We all get some things wrong. That's just part of being a human. We don't know everything. We're not going to get it all right. You spend your whole life trying to know something and study something and be an expert on something. And that's something you're never going to quite get all of the knowledge about. And meanwhile, you're spending a lifetime being an expert on this. What about this over here? And that's just, like I said, I just feel it's been really hard lately, wanting to post videos and stuff, because there's so many things I've been wanting to talk about over the last couple weeks, and every time I try to go to talk, I got so much stuff going on in my head. There's just so many thoughts that I have. I mean, there's just so much happening in this world that I just think we need to just take a moment and just try to love our neighbor, man. Just share some love. I mean, there's so many conflicts over huge things. Huge. People being attacked by police. Police being attacked by civilians trying to vindicate the fallen. But it doesn't work that way. Like, it doesn't work that way. When you're going out and you're attacking a police officer because you're trying to avenge someone else who was mistreated by a cop, whether they were mistreated or gunned down or stepped on. I mean, God, just the ugliness that's been going on. There's so many of these things, and there's so many of this going on, and while all of this has been going on, like, people's reaction is like, let's attack somebody else. Like, okay, those people who have done wrong, we can all sit back and argue whether they were dealt with accordingly, whether they were dealt with in a timely manner, but things are happening. I mean, things are happening, and if you want things to change, let's get involved. There are ways in our society, in America, we have a system where you can get involved. You can peacefully protest. You can petition. You can get involved with your congressmen, senators. You can get involved and make changes. You can make changes. You can make changes to policy, to laws. You can, petition to have things instated and get involved. Let's not riot. Let's not attack people. Let's not continue to waste so much time and effort on social media just bashing one another. Yes, the phrase, all lives matter, is true. Yes, all lives matter. All lives matter. All lives matter. But then the people who are in favor of the Black Lives Matter movement are getting angry at this all lives matter because they think that all lives matter is kind of overshadowing their pain and their strife. They're not wrong. It is, all lives do matter. But that Black Lives Matter movement is a real movement. It's a real thing. I've got friends, people that, been family, who have literally felt racial persecution over their lives. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And the Black Lives Matter movement is important. Just like any other movement, it doesn't take away. The Black Lives Matter movement isn't saying that white people don't matter. Isn't saying that Mexicans don't matter, or Chinese, or Puerto Ricans, or whatever. It's not saying that none of those people matter. Of course they matter. We all matter. But that movement is It's a movement, and it's an uprising in a moment of crisis, in a moment of pain and tyranny, when people are hurting and aching, and where black people are hurting. Black people have been attacked and persecuted and killed. Killed. I just can't wrap my head around it sometimes, you know? I mean, the pain and the way that we choose to respond. I know you feel anger. I know you feel pain. I know you want to rise up and do something. There's just a right and a wrong way to do it. There's an effective way to do it where you're not having other innocent people hurt. And then you see the officers who were so enraged by the protesting that there was a video I saw of an elderly man. I mean, couldn't have possibly posed a threat to anybody. He was just an elderly man, and he was peacefully gathering part of the protest and got shoved by an officer. He got shoved to the ground. I mean, he's an old dude. I mean, there was no way that officer in that moment saw that man as a threat. But that's what we're doing. That's what, as a society, as a nation, that's what we're doing right now. We are causing such a, we're breeding hate. We're breeding anger. We're continuing to fuel and just essentially, with all the frustration and all the anger and all the lashing out, we are dumping fuel all over the fire. Let's fix it. Let's fix the problem. Just take some time to love somebody. Love somebody. Love somebody. It's just mind-blowing to me. This. This is just one more thing to me. One more of many things that have been on my mind lately. In Oklahoma, there was a city in Oklahoma that this, oh goodness, the mayor implemented a ordinance for the city that said, when you're in public, you wear a mask. This was a few weeks back. Implemented an ordinance in the city that said you wear a mask if you're out. Most places around, a mask is now a suggestion. A lot of businesses are requiring masks, but most cities aren't. But this city, the mayor implemented an ordinance, and when they implemented the ordinance, there was literally people who went into restaurants, and there was a guy who literally assaulted somebody at the counter because they told him he had to put on a mask. Physically assaulted somebody because he was asked to put on a mask. Remember back in the day, I mean, like I was talking to a buddy, and he was telling me you don't see these signs anymore, but back in the day, I remember all through the 80s and 90s, it was a common thing. You saw it on, like, everywhere. There was a little sign on the door. And it was a real common thing, like, in Corpus, where I grew up, because in Corpus, you know, it's beach city, and we just all grew up on the beach, and, I mean, people walking around in their swimsuits all the time, and it was just normal, you know. But they had signs on, like, every gas station, on every little restaurant. There was a little, no shirt, no shoes, no service. You know, you couldn't go in without a shirt and shoes on. And like I said, it was just a normal thing. I mean, me, my brother, and sister, we walked around in our swimsuits, barefoot. I mean, we had flip-flops, but we weren't going to waste time putting flip-flops on. Hey, buddy. So that was just a common thing. And so we saw these signs everywhere, and it was normal, and it was accepted, because we're in a society of freedom. Freedom. And that means you're free to run your business however you choose. And if you don't want anybody to come into your establishment, without shoes on or shirt on, then you're allowed to post a sign. You know, people are also allowed to refuse service to any customer if they feel that customer is posing any kind of a disturbance. No shirt or no shoes could be that disturbance. In our particular situation in our society, no mask is falls into those parameters, you know, because that could cause a disturbance, because ultimately some of those other patrons that are hanging out in that restaurant or whatever may feel uneasy or uncomfortable. Some people believe this thing is stupid. Some people believe it doesn't do anything. Well, some people have a lot of faith in this thing. And if we're supposed to love our neighbor, how hard is it to do that and do that? Now, this is a pretty cool mask. My buddy made this mask for me. It's pretty awesome. I think it's cool. I get a lot of compliments on it. He even hashtagged me in gold, get cocky right here. It's very cool, very comfortable. It's actually, he made it where it fits my face, and it's so wide it wraps around my jaw. It's great. It's incredibly awesome. I've got a lot of compliments on this. I've been told that it looks cool. I've been told by some other of my friends, you know, they want one that fits so well because it really slopes on my nose really well. Fits, and it literally has an inner sleeve on the inside with a filter. He built in a filter. And this thing is dope. This thing is really cool. How hard was that? I mean, I literally took 2 seconds, walk into a restaurant, walk into a gas station, go handle my business, and then when I leave, just pop it right off. And there it goes. Ain't no thing. It's cool. And it's adjustable. Straps, I can untie it and make it longer, smaller, tighter, whatever I want to do. It's really cool. And how hard is it to do that for the people our fellow man? You know, and people spend so much time arguing about their rights. What about other people's rights? You know, there was another man in Oklahoma in that same city, and part of the cause of that mayor revoking said ordinance was because a man went into a restaurant. He tried to order a meal to go. He was ordering it to go politely enough, but he tried to order a meal, and the cashier told him, hey, you know, can you please just put on a mask? Because he was like standing right at the counter to her anyways, and can you please put on a mask? And he was like, it's like, I don't have to, you know, it's my rights to not wear a mask. You can't infringe upon my rights. And she told him, well, that's kind of our policy. He got angry and literally pulled a gun on this person because she told him he needed a mask. And the mayor, in a press conference, expressed how the ordinance of mask wearing was causing too much violence. So let's get rid of the ordinance. It's just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing how a mask can, I mean, to just love your fellow man. I mean, I've got friends and family members who are all over Facebook, and they're, you know, Instagram, social media, Twitter, everywhere, and they're just arguing and talking about how they have rights. They have rights. They have rights. They have rights. I had another buddy, me and him were sitting here talking about the concept of wearing a mask because he wanted to take one of our other buddies out for his birthday. And he hasn't, and our other buddy is an older guy, and he's an older guy, he doesn't get out much, and he was like, hey, I want to take you out for your birthday, but hey, I haven't had anybody in my car, so I need you to, you know, put on a bandana for me. He's like, I got a spare one in the car, you know, it's just going to make me feel more comfortable. And the older guy, when he does get out, he takes the bus everywhere. So, I mean, just to be honest, I mean, I got love for my boy, but I told him, I was like, I'm not taking him anywhere right now. Just because I got my boys in the car, and I know he takes the public bus, and I'm just being I'm just being cautious. So many people want to tell me I'm living in fear. I'm not living in fear. My wife's a nurse. I see, as I mentioned in the very beginning, I've seen close friends suffering at the hands of this COVID right now. And I've seen close friends who have lost family members to COVID. So, and everybody could tell me the statistics all day long about how the flu kills so many people every year. I've never lost anybody to the flu. Never. Maybe I'm just lucky. I don't know. But I have lost people to this. Well, again, I know people who their family members have been lost to this. And right now, I've got people that are close to me suffering from this right now. So, this is something I'm taking seriously. I don't want my boys to get it. I mean, I don't want my boys to catch the flu. Even if it was flu season, I'm not getting somebody in my car that's taking the bus every day, during flu season. I mean, it's just with my boys in the car. I'm just being wise. I mean, that's just what it is. It's not living in fear. It's just wisdom. But anyways, he asked our homeboy, "Hey man, I got a brand new bandana. I got a couple in my glove box, and one of them I've never used. You can use it. You can have it. Just wear it while we're in the car together, just so we're not directly breathing on each other." May or may not help. People want to argue that it doesn't. It's fine. I'm not disputing that. This is his car. This is his mentality. This is his comfort level. Our homeboy said nope. Said, "I'm not going." He said, "You're going to make me wear a mask? I'm not scared. I told you I'm not scared." Don't be scared. I didn't say be scared. I said just respect your buddy, man, and put on a mask. Nah. Alright, fine. Where do we get in our society that we can't just love our neighbor? Just love our neighbor. Just put on a mask just because you care about them. Not because you're scared. Not because you have to believe it. Or like in that city in Oklahoma. No shirt, no shoes, no service. We're in a different place today. No shirt, no shoes, no mask, no burger. I mean, come on. How hard is that? And most of the restaurants that have opened lately, they don't require you to wear a mask at the table. They just ask you to put a mask on when you come in, you're ordering at the counter, you're mingling amongst people. You go sit at your table, drop the mask, take it off. I mean, how else are you going to eat? Most restaurants haven't opened, but a lot of them have. Here in Austin, Texas, there's been many restaurants that opened a few weeks ago because they were lightening up on the on the stay at home and everything. They were lightening up on things, and as they were trying to get businesses and people to re-engage, they opened up all these restaurants. There's multiple restaurants in Austin that are now closed as they're too short staffed because too many staff members got sick after reopening. At the end of the day, people want to argue about, like I said, I know I'm all over the place. I just got so many thoughts in my head, and I just got so many things that have just been going on lately, and it's been really hard to vocalize these things and really get these things out, so I'm kind of just pouring it all out right now. So, at the end of the day, what I think it comes down to is just love your neighbor. Just love the people around you. Show some kindness and courtesy. You don't believe in the idea of some of these movements, some of these racial things that are going on in the world. Some people I've seen people on Twitter, on Facebook. God, it drives me crazy. I have to get on those medias and platforms because that's how I market my business. Man, I try to get on there and just get off as quick as possible and not get distracted because people are driving me nuts. But it's like the reality is that people want to get on there and just go on and on and on and on about how these things aren't real. They're real. And even if you don't believe they're real, fine. I'm not sitting here trying to argue with you to believe them. I'm trying to get you to understand to love one another. Show some genuine compassion to one another. You don't believe in the movement of Black Lives Matter? Don't criticize it. Show love to your neighbor by not criticizing it because they believe in it. I believe in it, but you don't have to believe in it. But at least show some love to your neighbor by not criticizing it. You don't believe in this concept of wearing masks. You don't believe that the pandemic is real. You think that the world is out to get you. Show some love and consideration to your neighbor. Just respect one another. You think that all cops are bad. Trust me, all cops aren't bad. There was literally videos online of police officers walking amongst the peaceful protesters. A lot of people will buy into that somehow that's fake, somehow that's whatever. Fine. Believe whatever you want. If you don't want to believe, just show some genuine love and compassion to your neighbor, to the people around you. Because when it comes down to it, I mean, that's what I'm talking about here. Because the reality is that none of us are perfect. None of us are getting it right all the time. Some of us don't get things as wrong as to make racial comments, even accidentally. Like I said, there's politicians, there's movie stars, there's actors, musicians, singers. You know, these people who put their foot in their mouth on a regular daily basis, and then later they try to fix it and say, that's not really what I meant. You know, whatever. At the end of the day, people screw up, people make mistakes, people say things wrong. People should be more cautious and be more mindful of what they're saying and be more compassionate towards other people. But, you know, you should be more compassionate and show some love by not being so quick to just judge them either. I've said many things in my day. And I'm sure I've said things that were offensive. I've never tried to be, I've never tried to be someone who offended people racially or about things like that or about their religion or their culture, things that are so serious like that. But that doesn't mean I haven't offended people. Doesn't mean you haven't offended somebody. But if we just spend our time trying to love and be compassionate towards one another, when you accidentally put your foot in your mouth and say something that's offensive, people are far more likely to believe that it was taken the wrong way and give you the benefit of the doubt because they know you're a loving, compassionate person. And like I said, there's not a race that's bad. There's not a position like officer or politician or anything that's not bad. People are bad. And people come in all shapes, sizes, colors, races, nationalities, creeds, religions, and they do all kinds of lines of work too. Let's continue praying for our nation. Times like these, when we're struggling as a nation, you know, there's an old saying, there ain't no atheists in foxholes. So there's a lot of people, when you feel like that moment, that's when you turn to prayer. Maybe for the first time. Maybe now's the first time that you need to pray. And again, I'm not pushing my religion or my faith on you. I'm just saying, our nation right now needs prayer. Our people need prayer. Our world needs prayer. And if you don't believe in the power of prayer, that's okay.